Just three radio hosts on air, dumb debating.
Here we go again with another round of dumb debate.
Here we go with some dumb debates.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to be the title of the podcast segment. You can submit your podcast. You can submit your dumb debates.
Submit your podcast now.
Sure, why not?
But do it at half speed and make Josh listen to him anyway.
Oh, yeah. Make Josh do the math on how he can listen to it at times and a half speed when you do it at half speed. Anyway, you can send your dumb debates into the JTech Construction Zone Twitter page at USC 1620 or the Equitable Bank inbox. John at 1620thezone.com. Josh at 1620thezone.com. You quoted that Kyle Winningham statement a moment ago.
You have a dumb debate off
it? That was my dumb debate off of it. Quote, I think you may see the day in the not too distant future where players don't even go to school if they don't want to. It'll be like a true minor league. I think it's coming. It's sad to say. Dumb debate.
Is it sad?
Will folks like this version of college football if there's no college?
Is everything else the same? Michigan still is Michigan. Their uniforms haven't changed. Ohio State is still Ohio State.
I would
Nothing
assume so. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
What would we call it? We couldn't keep calling it college football.
Not college football, college football. Not
I
college.
do. I have always wondered if the element of would you still have the same romanticism about Nebraska football if you knew that they were just players, they did not go to class, they were just Nebraska football players.
See, and I think a lot of people would get attached to schools if they went to the school, even if they didn't participate in any of the sports or didn't share classes with anybody. They could just sit there and be like, I went to that school represents me.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's no school attached to it, they're not. Would people still feel represented?
Yeah, honestly, what John's asking and you were asking is, do we like college football because there is the attachment to college, or do we like it for a different reason?
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to the individual people. I don't know the answer,
I don't either. I think that, Nebraska is unique in that I shouldn't say it's unique because it's probably this way to a lot of places.
Normal, Nebraska.
Well,
Nothing special about you, says John Bishop.
Most Nebraska football fans are not graduates or even attended a class at the University of Nebraska.
They're sidewalk fans, yeah.
And it's probably that way in a lot of other places.
Of course, yeah. Bama, Ohio
most
State.
of them didn't go to Alabama.
Yeah.
And so
that why should it affect you would kind of be the angle off of that.
Possibly. But there's always been this notion about college sports that it's different from the pros. But we keep whittling away at those differences. But there is one thing that is still different from the pro game, now that it's that the kids do go to class. They're there to get an education. And again, I don't know the answer.
You're wink after you said those sentences?
Well, I mean, it is true. They do go. Sure. Has there been cheating? Has there been guys? Of course there has.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that there's the stories of a lot of people who went to school and got a great education and became successful in life and things other than sports.
Yeah,
after their playing days were done.
Sure. I do worry about players like that. Like, they're good for college, but they're not good enough to make the next step. But then suddenly you didn't go to college. Instead, you did this.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, they can still go back to college, I guess, but they wouldn't have a head start.
Yeah.
They'd be behind.
I mean, yeah, going to school for players, I mean, I'm guessing there are a lot of former Huskers that are in our area that would say it was massive for me. Now, was it important because they went to Nebraska, the school, or because they made the relationships because they were on the football team? I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a lot of it is that they were just on the football team. They were on the football team because they had to go to. It's like that's the thing. It's chicken or egg.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? Did it set up your future because you went to college or because you played football for Nebraska? Because it's essentially we're going to talk about separating those two things.
And at the end of the day, is it still football? Yes. Are people watching it because it's football? Yes. So I think, like a lot of other things, society would get used to that. But I would wonder, as we keep crossing off all of these formerly forbidden things that are now allowed.
Forbidden fruit.
that John C. Riley?
Yes, it is. And I bet this is I wish I could listen to this right now. Jason
What a great
Benetti,
outfit.
Jason Benetti and John C. Riley in the booth at the same time at the Tigers game has to be hilarious. But as we keep, chipping away at we'll call it the mystique of college football, the things that make it different from everything else, is there a breaking point where people say, yeah, it's just not that fun anymore?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not that entertaining anymore.
I know we obviously don't live in a pro market, but do you think people who do, like Denver, I guess, do you think people have more of a connection with the Broncos than they would with like the Buffs? Or do you think they have more of a connection with the Buffs because it feels a little more attainable? Doesn't feel like the right word, but like pro teams I feel like are on such a higher pedestal than like a college team.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And I feel like that has something to do with like local appeal too.
Well, yeah, because you can grow up dreaming to play for the school. I mean, you can grow up dreaming to play for the professional football team.
It's more of a that could be me kind. Well, less so now, I guess, without walk-ons.
Yeah,
but
that's it. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, Charles, I don't know why I call him Charlie. Charles says networking is networking, Josh. Yeah, so I think in the end, the Nebraska players that have been able to turn stuff into a separate career is not because they went to school, but because they just were networking, as a football player. I saw this, not to do another sports one, so I apologize. But Davis, I saw this one from Davis Matek, who is looks like a fantasy football person. Assuming every player is at their athletic peak, which NFL player would win a game of 11 versus 11 football if all the teams were made up of 22 clones of the same guy? Essentially, which football player today would best be able to do all of the jobs on a football field at the same time if you could clone them? So what you're looking for is definitely some size, a lot of athleticism, and you do kind of have to ask yourself, how important is passing?
A tight end would probably be
See,
what I would base this off of.
That's what I was looking at. I was looking at someone either a big receiver or a tight end.
Like a Calvin Johnson?
Yeah.
Is he too tall, though, to play center? Nah. Because I was wondering about
Because remember, as high as he is,
everybody is that high.
He's depending on what the other team has chosen as their clone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be inherent advantages and disadvantages depending on who that cloned athlete is. But I would think in terms of what would possibly maximize the most success, someone who has got some great size. I don't mean to cross over sports, but you would, a player like LeBron James, who everyone has always said if he played football, he'd be a tight end. But you look at someone who's got a skill set.
Yeah, that size, that athleticism.
The size, the athleticism, and the ability to throw a football. No, is he going to throw the football as well as Tom Brady did? Of course not. But in a relative world, because if you're playing a team that decides I'm just going to clone a bunch of Tom Brady's,
no, yeah, that team would suck.
That team would not be very good because he was not built in such a way to be a good offensive lineman.
It's funny you bring up Brady because I was not thinking of any quarterbacks, but then Headley gave us the name of one, and El Scorcho gave us the name of the same guy, Cam Newton. Cam Newton is the size of what you're describing,
sure,
but he can throw the football.
Sure.
Gosh, he might be the answer. See, I was going defense, and I was thinking of guys like Aaron Donald because athleticism, size, freakish ability. I was thinking of like a Micah Parsons, a TJ Watt, like those types of edge. And I know that Darnold wasn't an edge guy, but he was just such a freak. I was thinking of those types of dudes.
Yeah.
But being able to throw is so, like, it is going to matter. Man, Cam Newton is a good pick.
Yeah, that's a really good pick.
Peter says Saquon Barkley, and that is also a good pick because he is a tremendous athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Can he throw? Again,
I would like to see a team of Saquon Barkleys versus a team of Aaron Donalds. That would be a very interesting matchup.
Wow, what a football game that would be.
Have there been any running backs that are good at throwing, like in a trick play situation?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
sure.
Running back pass is probably the most
How
famous
about a team full
play.
of Rex Burkheads?
Well, yeah, I mean, he could definitely throw. Now, you're losing a little athleticism compared to some of the other guys we
No,
mentioned.
but I'm just using a certain example, but absolutely.
Jordan says, Sue, so you could have a kicker. That's funny, because Sue could kick. That's a good call. KD, our resident 49ers fan, says George Kittle is the easiest choice ever. Yeah, but then you'd have a bunch of stinky men. Maybe that would help you win, though, because you'd move them away.
But no,
with
that's kind of. I'm looking at that George Kittle type. I would say a Travis Kelce when he was.
Say it, Nick.
Not out of shape.
I think he's gotten into shape now, but last year he was out of
Oh,
shape.
Sure, you
Interesting.
say that now because of her.
Because he might be
Well,
listening.
he was still with her last year.
Kevin says,
allegedly.
doesn't Taysom Hill already play like 8 positions?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's someone of that ilk
Mm-hmm.
who has the athleticism, but also has the size to handle some of the other positions.
Yeah.
Either way, there's going to be inherent advantages and disadvantages no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things about Cam Newton was, are we getting Cam Newton who refused to go down on the ground to recover a fumble?
Forget.
He refused to go down?
Well,
He didn't. There was a fumble and he didn't dive for it.
he didn't dive for it.
You got to go down.
And the Broncos,
Nice, Nick.
the Broncos got the ball and they kicked his ass.
Oh, yeah, that was a rough Super Bowl.
I mean,
Pedro says, what about Gronk?
that would probably be the antidote to the all Cam Newtons. What if I had a team of all Von Millers?
Oh, rats. Yeah, that's true.
I just aced your team.
Pedro says, how about Gronk?
I mean, again, that's the type of size and athleticism I'm
that
looking
we're looking
at.
for.
This is Gronk at his peak, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is anybody at their peak.
We'll see.
We're obviously not taking late stage Peyton Manning here.
Are we doing a disservice to the old heads out there like Jim Brown, Jerry Rice?
Oh,
Jerry Rice probably too small. Jim Brown, though.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown. That guy was a
Brown
freak.
would be amazing.
Because he was good at, he did other sports. He played lacrosse. People forget.
Jim Brown, Earl Campbell would have been amazing.
What about your guy, OJ? Could he throw? Again, could he throw?
Probably.
What about old Tarks?
What?
Frank Tarkenton.
Why did you? Okay, what did you Google to come up with Fran Tarkenton?
I knew he existed. I just didn't remember his name.
Okay,
no, he
was a quarterback.
He wasn't big enough.
He's too tiny. Dave says Bo Jackson.
Bo is another good one.
Yeah.
A team of Bo Jacksons versus a team of Jim Browns. I'd watch.
Wow, this sounds like a great football game.
Charlie has, Jake. This was one from
Samson. I was
no. I was reading the wrong guy's name. If you had to enter a spy / secret agent into a Hunger Games-esque event to represent you, and it meant life or death, who would your representative be?
Ooh, that's a fun question. Okay, so who are some of our nominations? James Bond, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He's a spy. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, those were spies.
Mm-hmm.
They were the Spy Kids. They were spies.
I don't want no spy kids. No fake.
I would probably take like Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the what was the movie he did with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Diaper
Spy
Genie?
Who Shagged Me?
No.
Oh, they're Austin Powers.
Austin Powers.
Do we want to count John Wick? He was in a secret organization, right?
Sure.
I don't know if he was a spy.
Well, secret agent. Yeah.
I think Strigori and Charles have my answer. Jason Bourne.
Oh my
Jason
God,
Bourne's a
it's
badass.
Jason
He
Bourne.
killed a guy with a magazine one time. He rolled it up and slapped him.
John Wick killed a guy with a pencil.
Yeah, that's true. So did the Joker. It's magic. Remember that scene, Nick? When he slammed the guy's head? Stib says, I'll take Batman.
I guess that does count.
By the way, I do want to read this before it disappears. Eric Jordan, going back to the previous question, Eric Crouch, or would they all quit because they aren't playing quarterback?
Oh, come on. There's been enough slander on Husker Sevens this week.
That was
We
funny.
are not crossing over and dismissing the greatest number 7 to ever play at Nebraska. Definitively and without question. No debate.
Pedro.
No debate. It's Eric Crouch.
How about Aaron Hernandez? He would take out the opponent, literally.
Well,
anyway, back to
he
this.
does have the right body
What about
type.
Kim Possible, Josh?
What about Kim Possible? John, do you know who Kim Possible is?
I've heard of this.
Call me if you want to reach me.
Well, if we're going to go cartoon or kiddie shows, what about Inspector Gadget?
That works.
Man, that's a good
He's
one,
an inspector, though. He's not a spy.
Is an inspector a spy?
I don't think so.
He seemed kind of like a spy. I like the pick of Jason Bourne. That guy's good, man.
I think I'm going with John Wick.
I think I'm going to go with Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in that movie that I can't remember the name of.
All right, perfect. Is that True Spies or
True
something?
Lies? True Lies.
True Lies. Pedro. Hi, guys. Dumb debate question. Would you rather be an actor that is famous for a couple of blockbuster movies but ends up broke and not working, or would you rather be a great working character actor that is recognized the world over but nobody knows your name? So in Bill Simmons parlance, that guy, where you're like, oh, it's that guy. Kind of like what you just did with Schwarzenegger. We're like, that guy, what's his name? He's in that movie.
I know who Schwarzenegger is.
No, I know. I'm just making
Star of the greatest running man ever made.
So would you rather be that guy, or would you rather be known but broke? So kind of like,
I'd rather be the second.
yeah, because you like money.
Well, yeah. And I'm fine with being that guy. Besides then,
You're a
I could have a
actor.
lot of fun.
There's some really good that guys.
I could have a
Hell
lot
yeah.
of fun
I
when
can't
I'm
think
out
of
in
anyone,
public
but-
and people going, I know you from somewhere. And then I give them a fake name and they go, oh, yeah, that's it. And then it was actually wrong. And you could have a lot of fun with that in public.
Yeah, I'd love to be that guy.
Yeah, I'd be that guy.
Because then you'd also get people that would look, but then they wouldn't come up and bother you a lot for your autograph because they don't know who you are.
They'd look but not touch.
Whereas if you're like a few blockbusters like in the 80s, then people just TMZ just talks about how you're a sad washout all the time.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that's the poor guy.
Yeah.
He was in that movie, but he's poor now. Yeah, that'd be a bummer.
Who's that guy who used to be in all those bad karate movies and now he's an asset for Russia?
What?
He did all those bad like action karate kind of movies. In
Jackie
the 80s.
Chan?
No.
That's the only.
Karate guy, like a Karate Kid.
No. It's like he's a. I can't think of his name. And that's
Well, he's
terrible.
a that guy. Apparently.
Oh, Steven Seagal.
Yes, Steven Seagal.
He was in karate movies.
Well,
I mean, he was just in action movies.
Well, they were action movies, but he was his
karate.
his special thing was doing.
Really?
Well, yeah,
I
he
didn't
did a
know
lot
that.
of.
And he's
yeah.
besties with Putin.
I didn't know. Yeah, I don't hang out in Seagal land.
Neither do I.
It's a weird place.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Steven Seagal movie.
Same.
Wow. By the way, most people in the chat got it right away.
Yeah. Steven.
Thank
Seagal,
you,
Steven
chat.
Seagal. Steven Seagal.
Well, I mean, yes, he did do karate style moves, judo moves, but when you said karate guy, I instantly thought,
No, that's fair.
I don't equate Steven Seagal with karate.
No, nobody should, and yet he associates himself with it.
Well, he's a strange individual.
Peter says, I've heard people say they are going to their cabin, and I've heard others say they are going to their lake house. What's the difference? Is there a difference? Does a cabin become a lake house at a certain point?
When
I
I
think
hear,
the difference is just there's a lake.
I think size, because cabin, I think,
You think
like
cabin like
small, one room, maybe two, but
like
it's
a
like
studio.
yeah, sort of. But like a lake house, it's like, oh, it's just a big fancy house on a lake.
Interesting.
Because if you're gonna have a lake house, you're not gonna have a small
So
lake
like a
house.
cabin has logs, but a lake house is a house.
It doesn't
Well,
have to have log. Like the
it-
cabin we stayed at in South Dakota, like it was just a small cabin, you know?
Yeah, I cabins can have multiple rooms, but not as many rooms. A lake house is a house on a lake.
Yeah. So it's not even
cabins
about
are
the
a-
water.
Cabins are usually a smaller version of a house.
So you guys think it's less about the water and more about the house?
No, I think it's for sure about the water, but I think it's mostly about the house.
So
Well,
if
yeah,
there
you
was
don't
a-
have to have cabins do not have to exist on a lake.
But if you have a
So if
cabin,
a cabin
and it's
was on a lake, would that be a lake house?
no, it'd still be a cabin,
Still be a cabin.
just a cabin
Yeah,
on the lake.
a cabin is
Cabin on the lake. That could be a movie.
a cabin to me is smaller than a house. I
Adam
guess they don't
says
have to be, but
cabin doesn't necessarily mean on a lake. Yeah. When I think of a cabin, I think of somewhere in the forest, or
I
in
do
the
too.
woods, maybe.
I do too.
A cabin in the woods.
Oh no, we
Yeah.
should do that for movie club.
We have.
Sorry,
Yeah, it was before your time.
great movie.
That's a reminder that we are doing.
Spaceballs.
Talk about it on Friday.
yeah, a cabin can either be a small house, a wooden mountain house with a sloping roof, a small freestanding structure that serves as individual lodging spaces of a motel.
What was that one?
That's just definitions of cabin.
It's just
Cabin.
Yeah, I
cabin.
don't-
Cabin is tiny.
Yeah, cabin is just smaller.
It's
it doesn't,
smaller than like a normal house.
Sam says feels like it's regional. In Minnesota, any size second home on a lake, even a mansion, is a cabin. Wow. Want to come to my
Well-
cabin? It has 18 rooms.
Again, people probably they definitely do flip the definition. I think there's some validity to it. Cabin sounds cooler.
It does.
It does sound more cozy.
It sounds cozy, but I'd rather go to a lake house.
I'd rather go to a cabin.
If I have two friends and one of them's like, "You want to come to my cabin?" and the other's like,
Yeah.
"You want to come to my lake house?" I'm saying, "Let's go to the lake house."
Let's go to the cabin. Let's hang out with the bros in the forest.
Cabin makes me worried that I'm going to have to sleep on the couch or share a bed with you. I want my own room.
That's a good
The
point.
cabin we
house-
stayed at had two rooms.
Wow, 2 whole room. What
Yeah.
if it's a dude's weekend, Nick? You got more than 2 dudes.
Well, there's also a pull-out couch.
See, exactly. Yeah, lake house. It is. I want a bed.
This is an older question, but it checks out. Mustache Adam.
Nice.
What does John hate more now, Evan Burrows or his mower?
Oh, great question.
I do not hate my mower.
He hates the bag.
I don't even hate the bag, though I'm not using the bag because I'm mulching.
Mm.
So the bag, not in my way.
Awesome.
I will never hate my mower because it's a good mower. It does
And
a
you
good
clean
job.
it. It's
And,
clean.
and I'm back.
Clean.
I'm back in the game, baby.
Man, this is so exciting.
You're mowing again?
I thought your wrist was going to be wobbling for years, and now you're mowing.
No, it's not wobbling. It's just stiff as.
Yeah, it looks very.
It's stiffer than a teenager on Viagra.
So if I pressed it, would it hurt? If I touch your wrist?
No.
That doesn't hurt?
No.
Man, it looks so poofy.
Well, it is.
John's wrist looks
swollen.
funny.
It's swollen.
Yeah.
Still can't get over what he just said.
Oh, how he was
Teenager
hard.
on.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's just really.
Play the Gary drop, Nick.
The thing that hurts is the shoulder.
Hello.
That's
No,
what
not that
hurts.
one. The other one.
Oh,
You know which one. Nope, not that one. All right, you're getting there. There's
Okay.
one more Gary drop.
I don't know if I know the other Gary job.
What?
Drop.
It's the most famous of all the ones. Boner. That
Oh.
one. Come
Boner.
on. There it is. Thank you, Nick.
Boner.
Those were good. The Pam was funny.
I love Boom.
Yeah. A texter from the 402. Josh, I've seen you at Sportscasters. Could you do that 6 straight days? No, first of all, I responded to this person. I said, when have you seen me at Sportscasters? Because it's been years. And he said, 10 years ago, I saw you at Sportscasters.
My God.
I could absolutely go to Sportscasters 6 straight days. My bigger question is, how many times would I get the wing fries in Lincoln? You know, Sportscasters. Great
It's been
wing
a
fries.
long time since
What
I've
are
been
wing
there.
fries?
It is fries. It is,
Buffalo sauce.
Yeah, but boneless wings that are tossed. They put them on there. Then they put cheese on top of it. They put bacon crumbles on top of it. They put ranch on top of it.
Wow, it's like poutine.
Nick, it is incredible.
Actually, it is.
And why other sports bars don't do this blows me away. I would order it at every sports bar.
that does sound really good.
Sounds
I've made
really
it at
good.
home a few times, but the ones there are so good. Schaefer turned me onto it the first time I ever had it.
I have
love
not been to
Sportscasters.
Sportscasters in years.
Oh, no, wait. Sportscasters. I'm thinking of the press box. My bad. Sportscasters have great ranch, though. I could absolutely go to Sportscasters. They have good tendies. I was thinking of press
Wait,
box.
Press Box has?
Press box has the wing fries. Baymon says that sounds awful. Baymon, you suck.
I need to go to Press.
Really?
Press box. Dude, I love press box.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah. Schaefer and I used to go there. It's a good time. I'm going to tweet at Schaefer.
When you and Shafe had nights on the town.
Oh, my God. No, we didn't have nights. We just had a.
There it is.
Oh.
Platter of hot, fresh French fries topped with melted cheddar cheese, your choice of wing sauce, boneless wings, and our house-made ranch dressing.
That's 100% just poutine.
Yeah. But it's awesome.
Well, it's American poutine.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a good kind,
Mm-hmm.
though the Canadian kind's pretty good too.
Yeah, I don't know why other people don't do that. It is
Hmm.
such an easy thing to, and you can make it at home too if you want. God, you know
Well,
what?
yeah, of course you can.
I just made buffalo sauce last night. I think I might do wing fries this weekend.
It's
Oh,
a good idea.
I think I might do that. That
They
might be
also
what's
have-
for dinner one of these nights.
They also have Alfredo fries.
oh, tell me more.
Fries covered in creamy Alfredo, melted cheese, crispy diced chicken, bacon, and topped with diced green onion.
That's it. That's the one I want.
Mm.
My God.
How convenient, he said.
Are you gonna go have that now tonight, John?
Is that what's for dinner, John?
No, that's not what's for dinner tonight.
Hmm.
And that's Dumb Debates.
Wow, Dave says stuck in traffic across the street from the press box. Dave, go there.
Yeah. Just you're stuck in traffic. Just put it in park. Go in. Come back. You might be able to move.
Also,
It's
Baymont.
also a nice setup there. They have a nice setup there.
I would agree.
For a smaller sports bar. It's not like a huge sports
I've
bar.
never
not.
heard of this place.
It's good.
It's in the strip mall and down in basically it's 56th and Old Highway 2 in Lincoln.
Okay.
But I've always liked the setup there because
Yes.
the whole one wall is televisions.
And then they have the bar
And
that's
then
up
there's
top.
a bar in the back, but yeah, there's usually and I've had good meals there.
By the way, Baymon absolutely getting roasted in the chat. He says
Why?
food touching violation for sure. That sounds awful.
Wait,
This isn't
what?
even food touching. It's just the ingredients, Baymon.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Come on. What are
if
we
you
doing?
put anything on a hamburger, that's food touching.
Yeah, I don't understand the food touching people. I don't.
Yeah, same.
Sometimes food tastes good when it touches other food. Then you discover a fun combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
these are foods that go
But
together.
this isn't
Ranch.
food touching. This is like saying I don't like pizza because food's touched. No, those are the ingredients to the meal.
Yeah.
Bad take. Horrible take.
Wow.
Wow. He says, deep down, everyone hates their food touching. They just don't have the courage to admit it.
P.S.
So
I live with food touching.
I'm firmly on the side of let food touch, but I do think it's different than like a pizza or a hamburger because all of these foods on this fry poutine thing, they can all go by themselves normally.
Sure.
Whereas like a pizza or a hamburger, you're not just going to eat an onion or you're not just going to eat pepperoni by itself.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, I love pepperoni by itself. But I understand what you're trying to say.
And that is Dumb Debates.
So we do it.
Now go find yourself some wing fries.
I need it.
It does sound really, really good.
Dude, seriously.
John, you should just order a bunch of them and bring them to us tomorrow.
John, that would be awesome.
John, thank you so much for doing this.
Nick didn't get to participate in fun things last week.
Then they're going to be gross and not good because they're
Josh, bring in your air fryer.
Bingo. I'll bring in my air fryer.
You guys.
What?
What?
What do you mean?
We're being innovative. You hate it?
Wow. Classic. John, I thought you said you could change. Guess not.
We thought you did change.
I didn't.
The same person you've always been.
Yep.
Sad.